I was sworn enemies with New York City's Ice Prince. After getting drunk, we decided to forget all our past grudges. But when I woke up, I panicked and immediately ran. 2 years later, he cornered me and my child at the airport. He asked if the child was his. Feeling guilty, I lowered my head and said, "The dog's." But he was certain he was the father. So when another man put an arm around my shoulder, he said, "I'm Amanda Johnson's husband. The name is Caleb." I grabbed Jack Thompson's tie and dragged him onto the bed. New York City's Ice Prince, huh? Still wears a suit and tie and makes a mess of things like the rest of them? Jack Thompson. After a moment of silence, he lowered his voice. Business talk. Commercial necessity. Shut up. You stole my family's business, and you dare talk about commercial necessity? Getting angrier the more I thought about it, fueled by the alcohol, I straddled his waist. He let out a muffled groan. Then, his large hands landed on my waist, lifting me slightly. Jack Thompson gritted his teeth. You landed right on it. What are you talking about? I pinched his face, stopping him from speaking, and leaned down to kiss him. My intention was to bite him, but his lips were too soft. Kissing and nibbling, the man beneath me grew hotter. Something he had on was digging into me, hurting. I pushed him. Get your phone out. It's digging into me. Jack Thompson didn't respond, but his Adam's apple subtly bobbed. Olivia, get down. No. I shifted on his waist and threatened, give that business deal back to me, or else. Or else I'll sleep with you. His gaze was dark. He was silent for a long while before speaking faintly. Not giving it back. Jack Thompson was stubborn. With the alcohol surging, I really did ravage him. However, Jack Thompson's body was 100 times more stubborn than my mouth. I quickly couldn't take it anymore, whimpering and crying in pain. Good girl. His voice was low and deep. He kissed from my eyebrows to my earlobe. I'll be gentle. His kiss landed on my lips, then moved down inch by inch. The scorching heat mixed with the alcohol, slowly draining the thin layer of oxygen left. I clung to his shoulders. A tumultuous night. As dawn broke, I woke up in his arms. His hand was still resting on my waist. The slightly rough touch made me realize this wasn't a dream. I was going to die. I'd been sworn enemies with Jack Thompson for over 10 years. His dad and my dad were business rivals, fighting tooth and nail for years. We inherited their animosity, competing in everything since we were kids. If he was 10 seconds faster than me in the physical fitness test, I'd score 10 places higher than him in academic subjects. If he beat up guys I was interested in, I'd scare off his dates. And so, we remained single all this time. I became the most notorious spoiled rich girl, while he solidified his reputation as New York City's Ice Prince. I thought I'd clash with him for a lifetime, but instead, I actually slept with him? I pulled back the covers to look, just to be sure. Not convinced, I looked again. And again. Then, blushing furiously, I pulled the covers back up. Jack Thompson was sleeping soundly. One hand was wrapped tightly around my waist, the other rested casually on his forehead. A silver bracelet he always wore was wrapped around his wrist. Seeing that bracelet, my restless heart slowly calmed down. Jack Thompson had someone he liked. That bracelet, which he never took off, was supposedly given to him by that girl, and he treasured it beyond measure. However, no one knew who Jack Thompson's idealized first love was. Perhaps afraid I'd try to break them up, Jack Thompson never revealed her identity, only mentioning the girl he liked a few times when he was drunk. White dress, black hair, quiet and lovely. She was basically the opposite of me. Furthermore, if the two old men found out about me and Jack Thompson, they'd probably flip New York City upside down. I sighed, preparing to leave quietly. However, as I was getting dressed, I realized just how wild last night had been. My pants were still pinned under Jack Thompson's leg. My bra was thrown on top of his head. All those embarrassing moments from last night flooded my mind. I didn't dare stay any longer, fleeing the room as if my life depended on it. Wearing the marks of last night's intimacy, I went home, took a shower, and changed into a high-necked shirt. Then I found my dad. I want to go abroad. My dad didn't even look up. All right, go to the best place. Study hard, come back and ruin that little jerk Thompson mansion. Me? Actually, last night, I was the one who almost got ruined by that jerk. My fingers involuntarily went to my neck, where there were still a few kiss marks. When are you planning to leave? My dad suddenly asked. Pulled back to reality, I bit my lip. Today. Time flew by. Unconsciously, I had been abroad for 2 years. 2 years ago, fueled by alcohol, I pounced on Jack Thompson. I slept with the detached ice prince, famous for being aloof, and then I ran away, guilty. I blocked all of Jack Thompson's contacts. But for 2 years, I kept dreaming of that night. The cool, noble man pulling me into his embrace, gently drawing me into a web woven of desire. 2 years later, my dad was hospitalized. I bought a plane ticket back home, bringing my 1 year and 1 month-old daughter with me. Stepping out of the airport, I held my daughter and scanned the crowd for the driver. Suddenly, a familiar face appeared in my line of sight. Jack Thompson? I froze, then turned to run. It was too late. Tall and long-legged, he caught up in a couple of strides. Running away? His face was incredibly grim. He bent down, examining the daughter in my arms. Mine? Guilty, I lowered my head, my fingers involuntarily tugging at my daughter's skirt. The dogs. The dogs? Jack Thompson was so angry, he almost laughed. Olivia, you really outdid yourself. Not only did you force yourself on me, but you kidnapped my dog too. Mentioning that, I felt a bit guilty. Back then, just to annoy Jack Thompson, I'd often feed his dog. Over time, the dog became closer to me than to him. That day, when I fled his house in a panic, the dog insisted on following me, refusing to go back no matter how much I chased it away. So, I simply chartered a private plane and took both myself and the dog abroad. Where's the dog? I answered honestly. Abroad. Found a strong husband and had 7 puppies. Jack Thompson gritted his teeth. Quite fertile, huh? I really didn't want to face Jack Thompson anymore. I whispered, my dad's sick. I need to go to the hospital. Okay. Jack Thompson glanced at me. New York General Hospital. I'll take you. Saying this, he squatted down and looked at my daughter. Honey, want some candy? His tone softened slightly. My daughter was still young, only speaking a few words. Right now, she held up her little hand and called out to him, Mama. As she spoke, my daughter giggled, her small hand grabbing the silver bracelet on his wrist. With a strong tug, the bracelet broke, and the links scattered on the ground. Jack Thompson stared at the scattered links, his expression unreadable. My heart sank. I was done for. Who didn't know he'd worn that bracelet for years, never taking it off? Jack Thompson reached for Honey. I quickly tried to stop him. She's just a child. I'll pay for. I didn't finish my sentence. Jack Thompson bent down and picked up my daughter, blowing on her hand gently. Bracelet broke, hand okay. Good girl, strong girl. Me? Was this really New York City's detached ice prince? As I was lost in thought, someone came up behind me, casually putting an arm around my shoulder. He smiled and asked, Got the luggage? Honey, is this your friend? Jack Thompson froze. He looked towards the person beside me, his gaze cold. Who are you? The other man smiled and extended a hand to Jack Thompson. I'm Amanda Johnson's husband. The name's Caleb. Jack Thompson glanced at me, then sneered, grinding his teeth. No wonder I just heard her say the child is the dog's. The person beside me looked at me, then smiled. In a way, that's not wrong. Jack Thompson looked down at Honey, then glanced at Ryan Brown beside me. His face grew even darker. Looks a lot like you. Saying this, Jack Thompson handed my daughter back to me and bent down to pick up the links of the bracelet on the ground. I quickly helped him, but Ryan Brown stopped me. Let me do it. It's hard with the baby. Jack Thompson paused in picking up the links. No need. He worked as if on fast forward, picking up all the links in no time. He carefully rubbed off the surface dust and put them back in his pocket. Seeing his careful manner, my heart ached slightly. How much did you have to like someone to treasure a small item they gave you for so many years? Unable to stop myself, the words slipped out. How are things with you and Scarlet Green? Scarlet Green, the only daughter of the Graham family. She was considered the epitome of the perfect girl for many young men in New York City's powerful circles. Recently, the Graham and Thompson Mansion families had been getting closer, and rumors about the two of them were rampant. Jack Thompson's publicly stated criteria for a partner were exactly like Scarlet Green. Some even said the two old men were already discussing marriage for them. Jack Thompson fiddled with two links in his hand, his gaze sweeping over Ryan Brown before finally settling on me. He raised an eyebrow. So interested in my love life? Aren't you afraid your husband will get jealous? My words caught in my throat. Just as I was scrambling for a comeback, Ryan Brown put his arm around my shoulder and chuckled. My wife is just a bit nosy. Please excuse her. Jack Thompson didn't respond, just gave me a look. Grace and I have lunch plans. I won't be able to give you a ride. Head out and turn right, there's a taxi stand. I nodded and said okay, feeling a bit sour inside. Gracie. How cheesy. Trying to pull myself together, I was about to head out for a taxi when I suddenly received a call. The person on the other end said they were the driver my dad had arranged and were on their way. I sighed. My dad was still reliable. Olivia, Ryan Brown said, holding Honey in one arm, turning to look at me. Aren't you going to tell him the truth? I shook my head. I was too scared to stay after getting pregnant and running off back then. Now that I was back and saw that he and Scarlet Green seemed stable, there was even less need to say anything. Ryan Brown is my younger brother. However, my parents divorced when he was 1. Ryan Brown took my mother's last name and went abroad with her, rarely coming back. My dad was holding a grudge and had almost never mentioned outside that I had a brother. Honey did look a bit like Ryan Brown. After all, it's common for a niece or nephew to resemble their uncle. Because of this, Jack Thompson must have really believed him just now. The car arrived. Ryan Brown opened the car door for me and smiled. Olivia, I'm actually looking forward to seeing Jack Thompson's reaction when he finds out Honey is his daughter. I didn't say anything. Flickering through my mind was the image of Jack Thompson in the airport lounge earlier, gently and softly coaxing our daughter despite the bracelet links scattered all over the ground. Bracelet broke, hand okay. Good girl, strong girl. I sighed, trying to suppress the flutter in my heart. Even if he knew the truth, what difference would it make? Would we just be forced together and fight constantly? After getting out of the car, I realized I'd left my phone inside. When I, too, ran back to get it, I overheard the driver on the phone. Mr. Thompson Mansion, they've been dropped off. Mr. Thompson Mansion? I froze by the car. Olivia. Ryan Brown saw me standing there and came over. What's wrong? Nothing. Hospital. Ryan Brown held Honey. I took a deep breath and slowly pushed open the hospital room door. Dad. Don't call me Dad. I don't have a father like you. My dad sat on the hospital bed, his voice booming, so angry he was almost stumbling over his words. Pa. He glared at me. I don't have a daughter like you. He said it wrong again, making the old man's face turn red. He pounded the bed. Tell me, who is the child's father? I stood my ground, remaining silent. Seeing the atmosphere getting more tense, Ryan Brown put Honey down and patted her. Go on, asked Grandpa Miller for candy. My daughter held out her chubby little hands and toddled towards the hospital bed. My dad looked at her with a stern face. He couldn't help himself and looked again. Just in time to see my daughter step on a slipper, her foot wobbling, almost falling. My precious! My dad jumped out of bed in fright, scooping Honey up immediately, his voice unconsciously softer. Slipper tripped the baby. Grandpa won't wear it anymore. Saying this, he stood barefoot on the ground and tossed the slipper into the trash can behind him. Seeing his attitude soften, I quickly stepped forward. Dad. Don't call me Dad. You find that child's father first. I bit my lip and tentatively brought up Jack Thompson. Jack Thompson? My dad's face instantly darkened. The child is Jack Thompson's? No, I lowered my eyes, changing my words. I meant, I saw Jack Thompson at the airport just now. My dad's expression relaxed slightly. His tone softened too. If you really don't want to say, then don't. Come back home with Honey. Your dad can afford to raise you both. He held Honey, kissing her chubby cheeks. With Dad here, no one and New York City's powerful circles will dare spread rumors about you too. My eyes felt a little sore. But of course, Ryan Brown had to butt in during the emotional moment. He chuckled and asked, Dad, what if the child is from the Thompson Mansion family? My dad kicked him and glared at me. I'd be half dead with anger first, then drag my remaining half-life to raise a granddaughter for the Thompson Mansion family. There was a business dinner tonight, and Ryan Brown and I attended on my dad's behalf. But we ran into Jack Thompson. After 2 years, I was far enough away this time that I finally dared to look at him openly. Jack Thompson had matured a lot. Taking over the Thompson Mansion family business for 2 years, he had transitioned from the former young Mr. Thompson Mansion to Mr. Thompson Mansion. His eyes held a newfound composure, and his demeanor was noble. However, a woman was standing beside him. It was Scarlet Green. Quiet and lovely, she didn't even need to do anything. Just standing there, she was the definition of the epitome of the perfect girl. My steps faltered. I stiffly took Ryan Brown's arm. As we walked into the banquet hall, I overheard someone mentioning Jack Thompson's name. Mr. Thompson Mansion said back then the type he liked, and it's clearly the Scarlet Green type. I heard the Graham and Thompson Mansion families are already discussing marriage. Didn't you know? Mr. Thompson Mansion and Scarlet Green were classmates for a while back then, but she went abroad soon after. No need to say more. Mr. Thompson Mansion's long-hidden idealized first love must be Scarlet Green. I was listening intently, my foot caught on the hem of my dress, and I stumbled. Ryan Brown steadied me just in time. Looking up again, I unexpectedly met Jack Thompson's gaze. He stood with one hand in his pocket, his eyes sweeping over my face before landing on Ryan Brown's hand on mine. By the time I came back to myself, he had already turned his head to talk to Scarlet Green. The brief eye contact just now felt like my imagination. I didn't know what he said, but Scarlet Green was laughing, 2 dimples appearing at the corners of her mouth. I had to admit, they really did look like a perfect couple. Feeling sour, I turned away and found a spot with few people, pouring myself a glass of red wine and drinking alone. My dad intended for Ryan Brown and me to take over the company, but my heart wasn't in it. My reason for going abroad was partly to avoid Jack Thompson and partly to study. I'm a jewelry designer. Although I've won some international awards, I've never designed the piece I'm most satisfied with. Ryan Brown is good with people. Even though he just returned to the country and no one in the room knew who he was already confidently chatting with people. See? I took a sip of wine and looked over. Ryan Brown was having a lively conversation with a woman. Wait, I'm slightly nearsighted. Squinting, I looked again and again, finally confirming the woman he was charming, who was doubled over with laughter, was none other than Scarlett Green. Oh no! Why was he trying to steal from Jack Thompson? That man was known for being petty. I put down my glass, about to drag Ryan Brown away, when a familiar voice suddenly sounded behind me. The tone was heavy and incredibly sour. Your husband seems to be having a very pleasant chat with my friend. Just what I was afraid of. With my back to him, I forced myself to say, my husband is quite sociable. He scoffed behind me. I can see that. Jack Thompson sat down across from me. I caught a faint scent of white musk, and my mind was pulled back to that night 2 years ago without warning. Dim, hazy light, white musk mixed with a faint smell of alcohol, a vortex of extreme desire. My face felt hot. Hot? Jack Thompson glanced at me, hitting the nail on the head. Why are you blushing? I'm not. I lick my lips, forcing myself not to think about those messy things. Out of nervousness, I subconsciously glanced towards Ryan Brown. That guy was still chatting her up. They were too far away, so I couldn't tell what they were talking about, but I could see Scarlett Green listening intently. They seemed very compatible. I looked at Jack Thompson across from me. Aren't you angry? Jack Thompson chuckled, glancing over there. He's your husband. If you're not anxious, why would I be? Perhaps due to being overly nervous, I had finished a glass of wine without realizing it. I've never had a high tolerance for alcohol, and now, belatedly, the alcohol was starting to kick in. In the silent few minutes, Jack Thompson looked at his phone. And fueled by the alcohol, I stared directly at Jack Thompson, as if I wanted to take back all the lost time from the past 2 years in one go. Jack Thompson. I licked my lips and suddenly asked him directly, are you and Scarlett Green together? Jack Thompson paused. Then he looked at me seriously. No. My heart jumped with joy. But the next second, I noticed that as Jack Thompson spoke, he was constantly rubbing the bracelet on his wrist. The one that broke at the airport that day, he had threaded the links back together, one by one. I asked softly, is that bracelet very important to you? Yes. Jack Thompson didn't stop his actions. Because the person who gave it to me is very important. I gave a stiff smile and didn't say anything. That tiny bit of joy quickly vanished. He and Scarlett Green weren't together? He just hadn't managed to pursue her yet, right? Excuse me, I said, standing up. I need to go to the restroom. Okay. 2 years had passed. We had even changed. He had become Mr. Thompson Mansion, and I had become a mother. The hostile atmosphere between us was gone. Meeting again, we could even sit down and talk calmly for a bit. I stood up to go to the restroom. Halfway there, I suddenly heard someone gasp. Watch out! As I looked up, I saw a metal rack beside me had been knocked over, falling directly towards me. It was so fast I didn't have time to react. Then, the world spun, and I was pulled into a warm embrace. The familiar scent of white musk enveloped me. The metal rack fell heavily. I heard a muffled groan above my head. Jack Thompson. Jack Thompson held me tightly in his arms, frowning as he looked at me, giving me the illusion that he was very worried about me. Are you okay? I shook my head, but my gaze suddenly landed on the back of his head. You're bleeding." Blood was trickling down the back of Jack Thompson's head. Jack Thompson wiped it with his hand and glanced at it. "It's nothing." Saying this, he stood up and reached out his hand to me. But for some reason, the hand raised halfway was abruptly pulled back. The next second, Ryan Brown ran over. "Are you okay?" I shook my head. After Ryan Brown helped me up, I wanted to check on Jack Thompson's injury with concern, but I met his indifferent gaze. "Clumsy." Jack Thompson looked at me coldly. "Didn't you know how to dodge?" The concern from moments ago felt like my imagination. Jack Thompson rubbed off the blood on his hand and said calmly, "Don't misunderstand. I just didn't want anyone to get hurt at my event." As he spoke, Scarlet Green walked over. "Are you okay?" "Fine." Jack Thompson's tone softened slightly. "Minor injury, it's nothing." She accompanied him to get it treated. And Jack Thompson didn't look at me again the entire time. After the banquet, Ryan Brown didn't come home for several days straight. He wouldn't say where he went. Meanwhile, my dad had recently gotten fixated on Honey's first birthday grab tradition. Actually, Honey's first birthday was already a month ago, but when my dad heard that Honey hadn't had a birthday celebration when she was abroad, he instantly felt bad for his granddaughter and insisted on making up for it. He wouldn't listen to reason, so I just let him. However, on the day of Honey's first birthday grab tradition, Ryan Brown caused trouble again. He invited Scarlet Green. And he invited Jack Thompson too. When my dad saw Jack Thompson, his face instantly darkened. But Jack Thompson reacted quickly, immediately presenting the gift he had prepared. "This is a silver spoon for Honey. I hope she stays safe, healthy, and happy." Those two short sentences instantly smoothed my dad's ruffled feathers. "That's thoughtful of you." "Thank you. Go on in." Just like that, Jack Thompson confidently entered my house. Fortunately, today was Honey's day, and my dad didn't get around to introducing Ryan Brown to everyone. At least in front of Jack Thompson, Ryan Brown's identity wasn't revealed yet. However, this guy had no restraint. Midway through the first birthday grab tradition, he quietly went over to Scarlet Green again. They seemed much more familiar now. I even suspected that Ryan Brown had been going to see Scarlet Green during the days he wasn't home. My gaze shifted, but I noticed Jack Thompson was also looking over there. His hand was rubbing the bracelet on his wrist. He was backlit, so I couldn't see his expression from my angle. He must have been disappointed. Unlike Jack Thompson's indifference, Ryan Brown was eloquent and good at making women happy. Just then, Jack Thompson withdrew his gaze. I heard him ask me, "Do girls generally prefer guys like that, who can make them happy?" Worried he was sad, I quickly shook my head. "Not necessarily. Some people like smooth talkers, and some like quieter types. Like me." I liked Jack Thompson's half-dead, detached, Ice Prince vibe. Jack Thompson's personality was very cold. He didn't talk much, and his emotions were extremely stable, always giving off an aloof aura, as if he didn't belong in this world. However, it was precisely this kind of person, pulled down from his pedestal by me, that made that night feel all the more wild and reckless. "What about you?" Jack Thompson's question broke my thoughts. Looking up, I saw him looking at me, his gaze dark and unreadable. But before I could answer, he chuckled again. "Never mind. You're already married to him." That question is quite redundant. The first birthday grab tradition always had an essential step. My dad meticulously prepared a ridiculously large number of items for the grab. From stock certificates to books and art supplies, everything was laid out. A photographer followed along the whole time. Everyone was watching Honey, wanting to see what she would pick. Under everyone's gaze, Honey crawled past a stack of stock certificates, skirted around some luxury car keys, and also went past the books and art supplies. Just as my dad was about to pick her up and put her back to choose again, Honey crawled over to Jack Thompson. She navigated through the obstacles, then hugged Jack Thompson's leg, her voice milky and soft. "Duh, Daddy." The entire room fell silent. Ryan Brown and I exchanged shocked glances, not even knowing how to handle the situation. Turning back, Jack Thompson was looking at me too. He bent down and picked up Honey, his movements gentle. He carried her back to the grab mat. "Honey, be a good girl. Which one do you like?" My daughter swung her little hand and grabbed the bracelet from Jack Thompson's wrist. Seeing the awkward atmosphere, someone chuckled and tried to smooth things over. "Our little princess knows how to choose. She's picked something for good fortune." Jack Thompson smiled. He gently rubbed his daughter's head with his palm. Without hesitation, he took off the bracelet from his wrist and put it in Honey's hand. "Then this is for you." Jack Thompson looked down at her. It was a rare, gentle expression from him. "May good fortune protect Honey." After saying this, he picked up Honey, walked over to me, and handed my UGTR to Ryan Brown. After Honey's first birthday grab tradition, I didn't see Jack Thompson for a long time. I always felt a sense of emptiness, like something was missing. The bracelet Jack Thompson always wore was now on my wrist. Honey was too small to wear it. Besides, I felt guilty. This bracelet was important to Jack Thompson, given to him by Scarlett Green. That day, he probably just didn't want to refuse in front of so many people, so he gave it to Honey. After much thought, I decided to take the bracelet to the Thompson Mansion house. "Olivia?" Aunt Lily Thompson took my hand, just as warm as always. "Are you here for Ethan? He's upstairs sleeping." Unlike my dad, the Thompson Mansion family parents, despite being rivals with my dad, for some reason, were exceptionally fond of me. "You can just go up and find him." Saying this, Aunt Lily Thompson pushed me towards the stairs and then turned back to tell the nanny to prepare fruit. I had no choice but to go upstairs. I knocked on the door. After a long moment, a voice from inside responded. "Come in." His voice was slightly hoarse, carrying a hint of weariness. I pushed the door open. Jack Thompson's room was always simple. Aside from a bed and a bedside table, there was no other furniture. Jack Thompson was lying on the bed, his entire body wrapped in the covers. As I got closer, I realized his eyes were tightly closed, and his face was very red. I was startled and put my hand on his forehead. It was burning hot. Jack Thompson had a fever. Perhaps my hand was too cold. He frowned and opened his eyes. Our eyes met, and I felt inexplicably nervous. But Jack Thompson stared at me for a moment, then suddenly cursed under his breath. "Am I burning up? Having hallucinations again?" I was a little confused. "What hallucination?" Jack Thompson didn't answer. 1 second. 2 seconds. He suddenly reached out and pinched my face. "Ow!" Jack Thompson slowly withdrew his hand and sat you. Something wrong?" His tone was very flat. I felt a bit awkward, so I could only take out the bracelet. "I know it's important to you. I came specifically to return it." "No need. That's what I gave to Honey." Jack Thompson leaned back against the headboard. His distant, aloof manner made me want to retreat. But I couldn't help but remind him, "You seem to have a fever. You should take some fever reducer." Jack Thompson looked at me, raising an eyebrow. "Are you worried about me?" "Sort of." I tossed the bracelet onto his pillow. "Afraid you'll die too soon and I won't have anyone to argue with." As I spoke, my gaze suddenly landed on the bedside table. The table was clean and tidy, with only a single photo frame on it. The person in the photo was me. Before I could look closely, Jack Thompson snatched the photo away. I forced myself to suppress my racing heart and asked playfully, "Why do you have a picture of me on your bedside table?" "Jack Thompson, you're not secretly in love with me, are you?" Jack Thompson flipped the photo face down on the bed. "Bullshit. Then why do you have my picture?" I pressed him, secretly hoping for an answer. Jack Thompson was silent for a long moment. Then he bent down and picked up a small, carved token that had fallen on the floor. To my shock, he stuck it onto the photo frame. He rubbed his temples. "To scare off your dates." Jack Thompson had a high fever, his face so red I couldn't tell what his expression was. I stared at that token, wanting to curse. Jack Thompson quickly pulled off the token and shoved it into the drawer with the photo frame. "Olivia." "Yes?" "If, one day, you found out your husband betrayed you, what would you do?" The question was so sudden. I subconsciously put myself in Jack Thompson's shoes and wanted to kill him on the spot. Not knowing how to answer, I asked him back, "Why are you suddenly asking that?" "Just curious." Jack Thompson stared out the window, his expression on unreadable. "Did you two meet abroad?" I was startled for a moment before realizing he was asking about Ryan Brown. "Yes." That was fast. His tone was low. I couldn't tell if it was sarcastic or mocking. He tapped the bed surface lightly with his bent fingers. From what I knew of him, this was a sign that Jack Thompson was unhappy. "You were abroad for over 2 years and came back with a 1-year-old child." He paused, then turned around. "Aren't you afraid he's not suitable?" Perhaps provoked by Jack Thompson's inexplicable sarcasm, I deliberately retorted, "We're adults. If we're suitable or not, we'll know after we've slept together." "Then haven't we slept together too?" As soon as the words were out, we both froze. Then, as if making up his mind, Jack Thompson asked in a low voice, picking up on that topic, "Olivia, is Honey really my child?" I was silent, my mind in chaos, not knowing how to answer. Just then, a muffled sound came from outside the door. My heart sank. I was done for. Sure enough, the next second, Aunt Lily Thompson pushed the door open. Through the open door, I could vaguely see a fruit platter dropped on the hallway floor. "Olivia, are you really with Ethan? I came to bring you fruit. I overheard you outside the door." You have a child too?" Jack Thompson and I explained for an hour before Aunt Lily Thompson finally believed we weren't together. To prove it, I even showed her pictures of Honey. "See? She doesn't look like Jack Thompson at all. They really aren't related." Taking advantage of Aunt Lily Thompson's silence, I said goodbye and practically fled. However, I had only left the Thompson Mansion house to visit a jewelry exhibition when I received a call from Ryan Brown. "Come home quickly. Something's happened." "What's wrong?" On the other end, Ryan Brown, who was usually smooth in social situations, sounded like he was about to cry. "The Thompson Mansion family came to claim their granddaughter, and Jack Thompson knows I'm your brother now." My vision went black, and I immediately drove home. On the way, I imagined countless scenarios at home, hostile, chaotic, fighting to the death. But none of that happened. When I entered, I only heard a string of voices coaxing the child. "Sweetheart, say Grandpa Thompson Mansion, good girl, don't call that old fossil, call Grandpa Miller. Grandpa Miller will buy you candy." As I entered, I saw Aunt Lily Thompson picking up Honey and kissing her cheeks repeatedly. As soon as Olivia showed me the pictures, I knew this had to be our family's child. "She looks exactly like Ethan when he was little." The 3 people who had been rivals for decades seemed incredibly harmonious now that they had a shared bond. My gaze shifted. I met Jack Thompson's eyes. He walked towards me, leaning slightly, and said in a voice only we could hear, "I know everything. Ryan Brown is your younger brother, and you're not married." I bit my lip, not answering, knowing I couldn't hide it anymore now that things had escalated this far. But Jack Thompson's next sentence shocked me even more. He said, "Ryan Brown also told me the child's biological father died abroad." As he spoke, Jack Thompson took my hand. "Let them assume things. I can take responsibility." What in the world was he talking about? Not far away, Ryan Brown winked at me, looking for praise. After the Thompson Mansion family left, I dragged Ryan Brown to the backyard. "What nonsense did you tell Jack Thompson?" Ryan Brown rubbed his ear, which I'd pulled red. "I was testing him." "You test someone like that?" "Oh, come on," he sighed. "You ran away pregnant back then, and now you're back with a 1-year-old child. You haven't seen each other in over 2 years. I had to test his feelings for you, right? Anyway, today, when he heard the child's father was deceased and you were raising the child alone, enduring all sorts of gossip, he didn't hesitate at all. He immediately said he could take responsibility for you and Honey." "He actually believed that?" Ryan Brown shrugged. "I showed him the urn with the pet's ashes in the basement. That was for the cat that passed away." Ryan Brown nudged my arm. "Honestly, he's quite a man. I approve of this brother-in-law. Besides," Ryan Brown mumbled softly, "Jack Thompson is handsome, has a good family background, is willing to take responsibility, is healthy, and is Honey's biological father. By any measure, you're not losing out." I interrupted him. "How did you figure out he's healthy?" "Come on, getting pregnant on the first try counts as healthy, doesn't it?" "Get out!" After chasing Ryan Brown away, I sat alone in the yard, lost in thought. Actually, Ryan Brown wasn't wrong. Jack Thompson was good in every way. The only problem was, the person in his heart wasn't me. I probably, maybe, seemed to know why Jack Thompson would give up on Scarlet Green and choose to take responsibility for me and Honey. Because Ryan Brown, that idiot, actually succeeded in getting Scarlet Green. They were dating. Their progress was astonishingly fast. So much so that when Scarlet Green came home with Ryan Brown and smiled, calling me Olivia, I was still somewhat stunned. However, what you fear always happens. Not long after Scarlet Green sat down, Jack Thompson arrived, bringing many toys and little dresses for Honey. For some reason, I kept a close eye on Jack Thompson's reaction. But he was surprisingly calm. He even smiled and greeted Ryan Brown and Scarlet Green. Jack Thompson walked up to me. "These are Honey's little dresses." I numbly accepted them. "Yours are behind." "Mine?" I was startled, unable to fully process it. Following his words, I looked behind him. The driver behind Jack Thompson was carrying over a dozen shopping bags. "All bought according to your size and preference." "Size?" I looked at him suspiciously. Jack Thompson chuckled. "Measured that night. You're a little thinner than 2 years ago, so I bought one size smaller." I glared at him. My face was red all the way to my ears. My dad and the Thompson Mansion family decided to bury the hatchet for the sake of a little person less than a meter tall. The two families were already discussing marriage arrangements. But late that night, I received a call from a bar. Jack Thompson was drunk there. When I got there, Jack Thompson was completely passed out. He was usually so controlled, never drinking excessively even at business events. This was probably the first time I'd seen him this drunk. When I went to help him up, Jack Thompson pushed me away without even opening his eyes. "Go away, I'm getting married." I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. In the end, I had to ask the bartender to help the driver get Jack Thompson into the car. I took Jack Thompson to an empty large apartment I owned, helped him inside, and struggled to lay him down on the bed. As I was about to get him a glass of warm water, my wrist was suddenly grabbed. "Olivia." He opened his eyes, his voice hazy with intoxication, and called my name. Yes, I answered, but he suddenly let go of my hand and laughed mockingly. Never mind. It's a dream again. The light in the room was a bit harsh. He put his wrist over his eyes, his voice slurred. I've been dreaming so much, I even thought she wouldn't come back. I dimmed the lights. Unable to push his hand away, I sat on the edge of the bed. I didn't know why Jack Thompson said that, but the vague suspicion in my heart made my pulse race. They say drunk words are sober thoughts. I leaned over the bed and asked him, Jack Thompson, do you like scarlet green? Jack Thompson looked at me with open eyes for a while, then sighed. This hallucination can even talk. Just answer me first. Jack Thompson shook his head. No, I don't. He didn't? She's not your idealized first love? Jack Thompson frowned. I don't have an idealized first love. I have a messy black moon. What was a black moon? I patiently asked. All right, who's the black moon? He looked up at me. Amanda Johnson. He closed his eyes in annoyance. This hallucination is unqualified. It doesn't even know I like Amanda Johnson. I was stunned for a long time. All I could think about were the words he just said. I like Amanda Johnson. He liked Amanda Johnson. Jack Thompson liked me? I wanted to ask more, but I noticed Jack Thompson's body trembling slightly. Looking closer, there was a faint dampness on the arm resting over his eyes. Jack Thompson was crying? As far as I remembered, I had never seen Jack Thompson cry. After a long while, Jack Thompson's voice was much hoarser when he spoke. She had a baby alone abroad. Her husband died. Someone I treasured so much went through so much hardship by herself. If only I had found out sooner and hadn't let her go back then. To be honest, I felt both heartbroken and touched hearing that. But when I heard had a baby, husband died, I couldn't help but want to laugh. It was all Ryan Brown's big mouth. Jack Thompson fell asleep quickly. I tried waking him up several times to ask more questions, but I failed. He was really blacked out. The most real and powerful proof was, after finding out Jack Thompson liked me too, I leaned over the bed, observing him. I couldn't resist, and I secretly kissed him. Since I had already kissed him, I couldn't resist touching him either. And then, there was no then. It turned out the rumors were true. A truly drunk man is useless. When I woke up, Jack Thompson was sitting by the bed, looking at me. The moment our eyes met, his expression was complicated. Sorry. He rubbed his temples. I drank too much last night. He asked me in a low voice, did I say anything I shouldn't have yesterday? You did. I sat up, pretending to be calm and okayed him straight in the eye. You said you liked me. Jack Thompson was silent for 2 seconds, then gave a wry smile. Yes. He looked back at me. Sober, he was far more direct than I had imagined. Olivia, I like you. I couldn't tell whose heartbeat it was, suddenly accelerating in the morning confession. Each beat was clear. He unconsciously fiddled with the bracelet on his wrist. I thought, if you saw me always wearing this bracelet, you would understand. I was completely confused. You're wearing a bracelet someone else gave you. Why would I understand? Someone else? Jack Thompson was also startled. You didn't give this to me? I stared at the bracelet, thinking hard, but I had absolutely no recollection of it. It wasn't until Jack Thompson mentioned when I gave it to him that I vaguely realized, maybe I really did give it to him. But I had no idea. In high school, Jack Thompson and I made a bet. Whoever lost had to shave their head bald. I narrowly won. After Jack Thompson shaved his head, he looked exactly like the cartoon character Ikusan from when I was little. It happened to be Jack Thompson's birthday around that time. I asked the nanny to buy a gift for Jack Thompson for me. My only requirement was that it should highlight his little bald monk status. That day, I was busy going to a concert. The gift the nanny prepared, I didn't even open it before I personally gave it to Jack Thompson. Looking back, perhaps it was from that time that the bracelet never left Jack Thompson's side. We stared at the bracelet, lost in thought. After a long while, Jack Thompson chuckled. So, the bracelet I've treasured for so many years was given to me by your nanny. My face turned red. She selected it on my behalf. So it counts as me giving it to you. Feeling guilty, I quickly changed the subject. But the criteria for a partner you mentioned publicly were exactly like Scarlet Green. Everyone thought you liked her. Jack Thompson lit a cigarette and sighed. When I was young, I was too proud. And our two families were always fighting tooth and nail. I just couldn't bring myself to admit I liked you. When people asked, I deliberately picked traits that were the opposite of yours, afraid someone would figure it out. Thinking about it like that, Jack Thompson's description of his idealized first love was indeed the opposite of me. He said he liked white dresses, black hair, quiet and lovely. Whereas I was famously rebellious in school. My pants and skirts were shorter and shorter, and I dyed my hair a new color every couple of months. Anyway, the school couldn't control me. Jack Thompson flicked the cigarette ash. Every time I mentioned it, I was worried someone would see through my real feelings. I didn't have the energy to apply it to themselves. Silence fell in the room again. It seemed that all the misunderstandings from these past years had been cleared up. The silence was broken by Jack Thompson's deliberately low question. Last night, I didn't do anything to you, did I? No. I shrugged. You were useless. Jack Thompson? He made a move to throw off the covers. Want to try again? I pressed the covers back down. Change clothes. We're going back to see Honey. Okay. At the mention of Honey, Jack Thompson immediately got out of bed. Honey needs a vaccination shot these next couple of days. Also, her baby teeth look a bit like cavities. We need to go to the dental clinic for a checkup today. Seeing him talk endlessly about Honey, I suddenly remembered that I had been so preoccupied with him liking Scarlet Green. I hadn't even told him yet. Honey was his child. In the car, I deliberately asked him, "She's not your child. Why are you so concerned?" It happened to be a red light. Jack Thompson turned his head to look at me. Who says she's not mine? On the day of the first birthday grab tradition, Honey made her own choice. His hand reached Acro's the passenger seat and took mine. You don't need to test me. I said I'd take responsibility, and I will see it through. My house had never been so lively. My dad refused to let Honey stay at the Thompson Mansion house. The Thompson Mansion family didn't get angry, they just moved in. A group of people surrounded Honey, coaxing her. Inside, there was also the family of dogs I had brought back from abroad 2 years ago, who had just been picked up. Aunt Lily Thompson held Honey, looking more and more fond of her. She really inherited her parents' best traits. Her eyes are like Olivia's, her nose is like Ethan's. Jack Thompson stood nearby, his gaze on Honey incredibly gentle. My heart softened. I took his hand and chuckled softly. I think her nose is very much like Ethan's too. While everyone was doting on Honey, I dragged Jack Thompson upstairs to a room. The heavy curtains in the room were drawn, and the light was dim. Jack Thompson effortlessly scooped me up, pressing me against the door, but his mouth was curved in a smile as he asked, "In such a hurry?" I wrapped my arms around his neck. Jack Thompson, when I gave birth to Honey, she was over a month past her due date. It was so painful giving birth. I was alone in the operating room, terrified. At that time, I kept thinking, I wish you were here. I buried my face in his shoulder, feeling his momentary surprise and stiffness. Jack Thompson, Honey is your child. You believed Ryan Brown's lie. I never had anyone else. Jack Thompson didn't say anything for a long while. After a moment, he pulled me into his arms, holding me very tightly. I'm sorry. I wasn't there when you needed me. Even though I was the one who ran away, he was apologizing with a pained heart. However, while his mouth was apologizing, his body's reaction was quite impolite. I pushed him. Let go. You're digging into me. I won't. Jack Thompson lowered his head to kiss me, mimicking my tone fr. This morning. I'm useless. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I told you, this man was extremely petty. He still remembered what I said this morning. Honey is still downstairs. It's okay. There are 3 grandfathers and grandmothers downstairs, 2 nannies, and 9 dogs. Jack Thompson's hand lifted my clothes and slipped inside. The familiar yet unfamiliar touch effortlessly ignited all my desires. Jack Thompson pulled me into his embrace. The door creaked loudly as it was hit. The room was dim. Jack Thompson tucked my sweat-dampened hair behind my ear and sighed softly. For the past 2 years, I looked for you countless times, but the old men always kept your whereabouts well hidden. He gently pinched my waist. It tickled, and I instinctively recoiled. Oh, right. I stopped Jack Thompson's increasingly unruly hands and asked him, why was everyone saying before that the Graham and Thompson Mansion families were discussing marriage for you too? At the mention of this, Jack Thompson's mouth twitched. They weren't discussing marriage for us. It was for the dog. After you kidnapped the dog. I interrupted him. The dog insisted on going with me. Fine, Jack Thompson chuckled. After the dog insisted on going with you, I got another one. This time, it was a male dog. Then he took a liking to Scarlet Green's dog and eloped to the Graham house. Refused to come back no matter what. I had no choice but to negotiate for him to join the Graham household. That's it? That's it. Jack Thompson rubbed his temples. You know how ridiculous the gossip in our circle gets. That was true. In high school, I had endless energy and went for a morning run every day. A few times, I passed by Jack Thompson's house and was photographed. People privately spread rumors that I had crawled out of Jack Thompson's bed and run home. It was ridiculous. I asked him when he started liking me. Jack Thompson thought for a moment. Start. Liking you in school. Saying this, he placed his hands on my waist and made a squeezing motion. If you mean liking you as in this, he emphasized the word liking, then it was 2 years ago. My face turned red. I tried to get off the bed, using seeing my daughter as an excuse. But he pulled me back. Good girl. It won't be long. I believed him. However, reality proved I was wrong about him. 2 hours later, my legs aching, I shakily went downstairs. Liar!